Hello, my name's Louise Menard and I'm the Student Financial Support Manager at Imperial College London. My team can help you with bursaries, scholarships and statutory funding. So what am I going to cover in this talk? The cost of living in London and how much money you'll need, the different types of funding available, your student loan assessments with the Student Loans Company, scholarships, important dates for you to know about when to apply, what can you do when things don't go to plan while you're at college, and lastly, useful links for you to refer to later. So how much money will you need to live and study in London? These figures are taken from our Student Experience Survey, which we carried out earlier this year, where we asked our students how much money they spend on the following items. Importantly, they're telling us how much money they need to live and study in London, not us telling them how much money they should spend. There are two columns at the end of the table, one for 39 weeks and the other for 52 weeks. All halls accommodation contracts are 39 weeks long, so in your first year you'll need to be able to cover your costs for 39 weeks, whereas most private accommodation contracts are 52 weeks long. So your costs will increase as you cover the costs for the whole year. The 11,788 figure at the bottom of the 39-week column is the figure that we want to try to get to for your first year at college as a guide. But if that isn't achievable, then don't worry, as we do have students who live on less than this. Accommodation is the biggest cost to think about when you come to university. The other items in the table can be considered more to be lifestyle choices. Our students say they spend about £58 a week on food, but this is a lot of money and it is quite possible to spend a lot less. Also, if you prepare your evening meals in advance or take lunch into college, then you can save money that way too. The £28 a week travel figure is based on a student underground Oyster card for zones 1 to 3. So if you live near campus, you could walk or ride a bike in, and if you do that every day, then this will make a big difference to your budget. Lastly, our students say they spend around £43 a week on personal items such as going out, but also items like their phone bill, which again will be down to personal choice. While we look at the different funding available, it's worth reminding you what separates Imperial from the other universities. Imperial is the number one for graduate prospects in the UK. The average starting salary of our graduates is just under £34,000, and we are ranked 3rd in Europe and 8th in the world. There are two main types of funding available, which will be discussed over the following slides. The first is government funding, which includes tuition fee loans and maintenance loan. The second is the funding that is available through Imperial College, such as the Imperial Bursary and our scholarships. First of all is your tuition fee loan. This loan will cover your full fees in 2019 of £9,250. It is available to both home and EU students, and you don't have to be means tested to receive this loan, which means it doesn't matter what your household income is, and it is paid directly to the college once you start. For both your tuition fee loan and your maintenance loan, which we'll discuss on the next slide, you only start repaying the April after you graduate and once you're earning over £25,000. The most important point about these loans is that your repayments are based on what you're earning, not what you owe. So whether you do a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree, if once you graduate and you're earning the same as one of your fellow students, your repayments will be the same. The £35,000 income row to the right of the slide is in bold, because that is just over what our average graduate starting salary is. As you can see, if you're earning around £30,000, no matter how much you owe, you will only repay £67 a month for both your tuition fee and your maintenance loan combined. Another important point is that these loans are not linked to your credit report, so they won't affect your future borrowing. Likewise, if you take time off work to go travelling or raise a family, your repayments will stop, so this won't be a black mark on your credit report as with regular loans. And lastly, these loans are written off after 30 years. Your maintenance loan is the money you'll have to meet your day-to-day costs for accommodation and food. When you come to a London university, you're offered a higher amount of loan than if you chose to study outside of London. The figures in this graph are based on the 2018-19 funding figures, as the figures for 2019-20 should be released in a couple of months. The full maintenance loan from Student Finance England is means tested, so they will assess your parents' income in order to decide how much to loan you. From the bottom of the graph you can see the household income ranges, and you can see how the amount of loan available decreases as the household income increases. You can see the cost of living in London figure that I mentioned earlier in yellow, and you can see that the government maintenance loan comes just under what is needed. At Imperial College London, we offer the most generous bursary in the UK. We offer funding to students with a household income of up to £60,000 for every year, except for any NHS funded years, and the bursary ranges between £5,000 and £2,000 for each year you progress. You don't need to apply for the bursary, but you must have been means tested by Student Finance England or your funding agency and consented to share this information in order for us to assess you. If we look back at the maintenance loan graph, you can see that by adding the Imperial bursary, the funding available to you will take you over the cost of living in London line, which makes living and studying in London more affordable. As a guide, you can go to either one of these funding calculators to see how much money you may be eligible for. You just need to enter your household income and any other relevant information, such as if you're receiving any benefits or if you have any other siblings at university. The government calculator will tell you what maintenance loan will be available to you, and the Imperial College calculator will also tell you how much Imperial bursary will be available to you. Again, these will be based on the 2018-19 figures, but they are a useful guide if you want to know how much money you could have when you're looking at halls accommodations. So how is your household income assessed? For 2019-20 entry, your funding agency will assess the 2017-18 tax year. As this is a while between when that salary was earned and when you're assessed for it, if anything has changed between then and your 2019-20 income, you can apply for an in-year assessment, which could increase your loan for that year and increase your Imperial bursary funding. Your funding agency will ask for information and documents confirming things like your household salary, taxable state benefits, pensions, income from any savings or investments, and any other sources of income. There are only two possible deductions available to reduce your household income. The first are any private pension contributions that you might be making, which can be taken off your household income. And the second is if you have any older siblings at university, then £1,000 per sibling can be taken off your household income. For the purposes of student finance, a household is the place where you live the most of the time, and your household income will be assessed on the parent or parents who live there, which would include the income of a stepfather or stepmother if they live with you. For students thinking about embarking on a 6-year MBBS medical degree, the funding is slightly different. The first 4 years are the same as I discussed above. However, when you move into your 5th and 6th years, you receive a tuition fee grant and a maintenance bursary granted by the NHS, and a reduced maintenance loan from the government. Overall, you will not have as much money available to you for these last 2 years as you do with Student Finance England, and with that in mind, Imperial offers our medical students the choice to opt for a 6-year payment plan for their Imperial bursary, whereby we hold back some of your bursary for years 1 to 4 so you can receive a bursary in years 5 and 6 to help mitigate the lesser amount of maintenance funding available. We have over £200,000 worth of scholarships to award in 2019-20, where the main criteria could either be academic merit, financial need, or both. They can be full awards worth up to £20,000, which would cover your tuition fees and give you a maintenance grant, or we have smaller awards worth around £1,500. Most of our awards do not require an application form to be completed. You will be assessed for scholarships based on your application to college. To see a full list of what scholarships you might be eligible for, you can go to the scholarship search tool on our web pages and view what the criteria is, when the deadlines are, and for a small number of awards if you do need to complete an application form. Now, the important dates to bear in mind. From October, as you are applying for your college place, you need to start thinking about your funding and looking into scholarships. We will advertise our scholarships for 2019-20 from October 2018 on the scholarship search tool. In February, Student Finance England opens for new applications for government loans. We will send an email to all applicants to the college informing you that you are now able to apply. Assessments can take up to 6 weeks, especially if your household income is more complex, such as if your parents are self-employed. We advise that you start your application early in case your funding agency needs more information or documentation. If you want to be considered for one of our many scholarships, then you need to make sure that you've been means tested for funding by the 1st of May 2019, so that we can assess you for an award. So you'd need to start your student finance application no later than mid-March. In August, the Monday after the A-level results, we get in touch with all of our home undergraduate students to let them know that they have been assessed successfully for the Imperial bursary and how much they'll receive. We also get in touch with students who haven't yet been assessed to remind them to do so, as well as with students whose income falls above the £60,000 threshold in case they believe that to be incorrect, so they have time to rectify this before October. Sometimes things don't go to plan, such as an unexpected bill or if you're living in genuine hardship and need assistance meeting your everyday costs. In these instances, we have the Student Support Fund, which can award grants and interest-free loans to you of up to £4,000 to help you through that time. Finally, we have lots of resources available. The government website is very good and the information is written in bite-sized chunks, and you can refer to our fees and funding web pages for the information covered in this talk, or to find our contact details if you want to get in touch with any queries you might have.